Allah has not called you there to reject. My philosophy is everyone's Hajj is inshallah Hajj Mabrur, unless you do something, really, really foolish. Okay, preparation for Hajj packages, dates and times. This is some of the things that will be covered. And we'll come to the kinds of Hajj we talked about here. It's good to read a book before you go. You won't have time to read a book there, but once you're here and you're free time, you can read a book, and there are some good books out there for Hajj. So, of course, Hajj, one of the three things that forgives your major sins, right? What are the three things that forgives your major sins? Accepting Islam, non-Muslim converting to Islam forgives all his sins. What else forgives all your sins? Right? Hijrah, migration. Like the Sahaba, they migrated from Makkah to Medina. That forgives all your sins. Those two are not an option for us, right? We're already Muslim and we're not migrating anywhere. You only have the third option, which is what? Hajj. Hajj forgives all your sins, major and minor. Okay? This is Hajj Mabrur. Okay, we talked spiritual preparation, right? One part about spiritual preparation is that you begin to pray your 5 daily prayers, right? Consistently, punctually, without missing any prayer. Try to pray them in the masjid. Mental preparation, we'll talk a little bit about that. One brother, he's over there, he's from America, and he speaks Arabic, okay? But he's born and bred in the U.S. He's like, I asked for directions, and I asked them in Arabic, and nobody was helping me. I'm like, wake up. There's no such thing as customer service, okay? It's not America, okay? So you have to be mentally prepared, okay? Don't expect things to be like America, okay? You should know the historical connection. Physical preparation, right? Getting your steps. Financial preparation, logistical preparation. We'll talk about logistical preparation. What should you take? What things you should take. Right? Sunglasses. Oh yes, a must. Right? You don't want to, especially you're going in June and July. Like said, it's going to be 118 degrees.
It goes up to 107, so I hope it doesn't go 118.
That's these parts of mental preparation, okay? Be patient, don't complain, set realistic expectations, okay? Limit your shopping, don't get into arguments and disputes, don't compare yourself to other groups and other people. Mental preparation, okay? Have a positive attitude, take it easy, right? You have to be alert. I know one sister who forgot her green card in Masjid al-Nabi. And imagine, she was going to go to Pakistan after that. She's from the US. She forgot her green card where she was praying in Masjid. She went back. Do you think she found it? No. Imagine. Right? Okay. Attend a Hajj seminar. Okay. And this is some of the preparation you can do. Read a book. Attend a Hajj seminar. Learn the rules of traveling, learn the du'as, learning the seerah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you know the Battle of Uhud and how the Battle of Uhud went down, when you go to the field of Uhud, it will make a lot more sense to you, right? I had one brother while I was doing tawaf with him. He said, is the Prophet buried in the Kaaba? He didn't know the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is buried where? In Medina. So people, they go with almost zero preparation. I took a group from here, and the sister, they didn't take any abaya with them. And they're landed at the airport and they're still in their jeans. And I felt so awkward and uncomfortable. You would think that you should take. When are you gonna? There's plenty of stores to buy your abaya from, but you've already landed there, and now you're entering Makkah and Medina without any abaya. So there's some common sense types of preparation that you need to have. Get in shape. Financial preparation. In the olden days, there was a 50% chance you would not make it back alive because of the journey. The journey itself was so long, right, and difficult. That's why financial preparation, people wrote a will. That's why people ask this question, very common question. do I have to pay off my debt before I go for Hajj? No, you don't. But in the olden days, it was a good idea to pay off your debt because there's a 50% chance you will not come back alive. So who would pay off your debt in that case? That's where that question stems from. Okay, you don't need to take a lot of money, honestly, but take enough, unless you plan on buying, or going there for shopping, which no one is going there for shopping. Okay, so you don't really need a whole lot of money over there. Your group should have taken care of all your meals and everything. So in that case, what do you really need, right? Less than $1,000 should be plenty, unless you're doing shopping. A little bit of shopping, but if you go into the gold, right, then of course. Okay, stay light, don't pack, right? Heavy, okay. I'll talk a little bit more about that, exactly what you should have with you if you're just going for Hajj. But you should have a carry-on, right? That normally the carry-on that you take on the plane, and then a smaller bag. Okay.
A backpack.
Like a backpack, right? That should be enough. Okay, but if you want between the husband and wife, if you want to take one suitcase for the shopping items, once you get done with shopping, you're gonna put some of that stuff in there, right? Zamzam water, I would suggest not to buy it simply because we have plenty here and you can buy it from there and the people won't know the difference.
That's true, and you have to.
And plus you're not lying, you're saying it's Zamzam water, right? You're giving them genuine Zamzam. That's what a lot of brothers are doing, you know? They go for Umrah and then they come back and they buy Zamzam from here. Okay, do not take valuables, okay? Don't take your necessary items like prescription medicine, okay? Of course, whenever you're traveling, it goes without saying that prescription medicine you should keep with you in your carry-on. Take enough clothes, not too many, just suitable for the expected weather. Okay. Climate of Makkah and Medina. What to take? Pocket Mus'haf. Nowadays people have Quran app, right? Small book of authentic du'as. Any du'a that I prefer that you memorize the du'a. There's really no point in having the du'a and you're so focused on the book that you're not enjoying the experience of the tawaf. You know, so instead of trying to read some complicated dua from the book, you're better off memorizing some short dua and just reading that. You need a beat. You need a tawaf tasbih. Okay, it's just a very simple 7 or counter, because 9 out of 10 times you will forget how many rounds you have made. It's just the nature of it, right? You know, then even doubt is not a good thing. Even if you're like 60-40, okay, did I do? Because there's a fiqh complication. The fiqh complication is if you have done 6 and you have not done 7, your tawaf is not what? Complete. If you have done 8 and not 7, now you've started a second tawaf. So you should add 6 more circuits to complete the second tawaf. Right? So tawaf tasbih is a good idea. Or if you're in a group, you say 1, as soon as you're done. Have some way of keeping track because you don't want to lose count. Prayer mat, of course, prayer mat. You will not, there's 2 things you never leave home without. Never leave your hotel room without. One is a prayer mat and one is a water bottle. Okay? You can get everything over there. There's nothing that you cannot get over there. Okay? So, I mean, the hotels over there, sorry for the comparison, would put Vegas to shame. Okay? Big fancy hotels. Everything you can get. But it's more convenient to just have it with you. So just, okay, they have the pharmacy which they call Saydaliya, but if you have your, just the basic medicine, you definitely want something to stop motion, right? You want ibuprofen, stuff like that. Tylenol, Band-Aid. Mask when not in ihram. Personal care items, hygiene items, scissors and comb, nail clippers, okay. Unscented baby wipes is a good idea, right? Thanks to COVID, we all have now these wipes, right, that you can use to sanitize yourself. Comfortable and modest clothing, right? You don't need to take jeans or something, just comfortable. what do you call the khaki pants, right, with a lot of pockets. That's good. That's a
Cargo.
Cargo pants they call them. Shalwar kameez, just something with pockets. You know, all my kurtas have zip on it. Okay, that's from living in Pakistan because there's so many pickpocketers. So even though it's been 30 years since I've left Pakistan, but I have that habit. Okay, but if you don't have that, you know, it's not that. I mean, 99.9% of the people are good people, right? But you have that percent who's there for some other reason. Women wear their normal clothes, right? Just comfortable clothes, but you know, just pastel colors, nothing fancy, no fancy colors, no fancy clothes, just simple clothes. Okay. You know, I actually, when it comes to women's clothes, I think the ladies from India, Pakistan, the shalwar kameez itself is so modest and it's so covering that if you wear a big, what do you call it, orni, right? Like they call namaz ki orni, you know, one big, not just a small scarf, but the actual, that is plenty. But still you'll find the sisters, they'll still wear an abaya on top of the shalwar kameez. So my point is, if you find some comfort, if you're wearing a t-shirt, right? Because you're going to be wearing an abaya outside, well, why wear a shalwar kameez inside, right? So wear something more comfortable inside because you still have what? You're still going to have the abaya on top. You'll see all these different styles of burqa and hijab and clothes. I think the most cumbersome is the India Pakistan because they're fully covered with shalwar kameez and then on top of that they're wearing abaya. Okay, this is what you want. You want this is a must-have. This is a must-have for tawaf and sa'i. Okay, it will save your feet. Your feet will thank you for it. Okay, it's this I don't know what they call them, but they're very comfortable type of slip-ons.
Or water shoes. Water shoes or water sandals.
For water sandal, right? Yeah, so you can wear them when you're doing tawaf and sa'i. Okay, so apart from, yeah, definitely need that. Ihram towels, right? Ihram, where do you keep your ihram? You don't want to put it in your check-in. If you put your ihram in your check-in and you need to get into your ihram in Dubai, you don't have your check-in. So, right? One brother, he has his ihram, but it's in his check-in. Now what does he do? He's not going to find an ihram at Dubai airport. He had to take his shirt and do all these, I don't know. Come. This is a Hajj belt. I would recommend this, what they call it, fanny pouch, right? Fanny pack. It's a fanny pack. It's an added, apart from holding an ihram belt will hold your lower part, but apart from the ihram belt, this is an added level of measure to keep your ihram. Safety pins, you need petroleum, okay, jelly. You definitely need that. The men need it because what will happen is your thighs will start chafing. What is it called? Chafing, and you can't walk. Okay, you walk like this, right? Because when the thighs rub against each other, right? So you need something of that nature. Okay. Travel pillow and camping. If you have something like a yoga mat, that would be perfect. That would be good enough. Light travel blanket, sunglasses we talked about. Eye shades for sleeping. You don't need all these things, okay? Don't think this is a must-have. I'm just going through their presentation. Out of these, I would say sunglasses. That's it. But it depends. You know, some people they can't sleep if there's even a little bit of noise. And then earplugs. Folding umbrella is a luxury. Eye shades. Just Allah has given you natural eye shades. Just close your eyes, right? But one thing that is a must is what? Sunglasses. Backpack, Mina, Arafah, and Muzdalifah. We talked about that. You need a backpack or a drawstring bag. Okay, you actually need both. You would have a drawstring bag is also a must. You must have a drawstring. The group you're going with will probably give you a drawstring bag. Okay, because every time you leave your hotel for prayer, you're not going to take your backpack with you. What are you going to take? Your drawstring bag. Okay, drawstring bag will have your prayer mat. And that way you don't have to put your slippers in the shoe rack. Where do you put your slippers when you're doing tawaf? And your drawstring. drawstring bag, right? You're not going to carry them with you in tawaf, right? If you leave them at the shoe shells, well, it's about, by the time you get done with your tawaf, you're like 3 football fields away from where you left your slippers. Are you going to go back 3 football fields to collect your slippers? I never put my slippers in the shoe rack. Just put them in the drawstring bag. Plus you have your water bottle in there and your prayer mat. This is also something nice to have, but if you have a fanny pouch, then you don't need a travel neck wallet. Okay. Oh, flashlight? Yes, you need a flashlight. Okay, you definitely need a flashlight. Okay, small flashlight would be helpful. And a small, a Ziploc bag is good enough. You don't need a small pouch, but a small Ziploc bag to put your pebbles in.
You have to collect 70, right?
Right. Yeah. So then you need somewhere to put them. Right? As I said, Ziploc bag is good enough. This is colored packing tape to mark your luggage and passport. Cell phones, okay, just make sure the cell phone is unlocked. They call it open, right? Keep it open. All the cell phones sold in America are not open. You have to have them open. Okay. And then once they're open, then you're able to put any SIM in it. Okay. So, and they'll open it for you. Nowadays, they've eased the restrictions. All these cell phone companies, just to keep their monopoly and just to keep you as a customer and not use that phone for T-Mobile and AT&T. So, but now you just call them and they'll tell you how to open it. Or you can take it to the T-Mobile wherever you bought your phone and ask them to open it. Okay. Then you're able to put in a Saudi SIM card.
Is that a necessity to have their SIM card? Like, if my phone works there, like when I went for Umrah, the T-Mobile phone worked just fine.
Yes, fine.
Calls and data and everything.
We just have them, we told them, right? Or
T-Mobile has free international.
Yeah, data plan.
But for people who don't have T-Mobile, like AT&T, I would recommend
Your
getting.
bill's gonna be more expensive.
But if you want to call another Saudi, you can do that then with your Saudi numbers, right? Everyone gets, okay, time. Okay, let's talk about this. Makkah first, Medina first. Who's going to Makkah first? Makkah first? Brother Rahid? And who's going to Medina first? Okay, Medina first. Okay, so the instructions will vary somewhat. Okay, so just pick up on that.
Can everyone see back there on the floor?
If you want, you can grab some more chairs, please.
There's a chair you can grab if you can't see.
We took a lot of chairs downstairs, but they're okay. The months of Hajj: Shawwal, Dhul Qa'dah, Dhul Hijjah. These are the 3 months of Hajj. Okay, you are leaving in Dhul Qa'dah or Dhul Hijjah. Most probably you are leaving in Dhul Hijjah, the month of Hajj. Days of Hajj are 5. Okay, what are the days of Hajj? 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. 13th is optional. 13th is? Oh, you gotta fill in the blank, okay? That's how I know you're awake. Okay, so 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. We'll talk more about it. Okay, so when is Eid? When is everyone else in the world celebrating Eid? 10th is Eid. 10th is Eid. You won't know it's Eid because there's no Eid prayer there for you. You won't know that it's Eid. But that's when your ihram will come off on the 10th. And your ihram you'll put on the 8th. Okay, so you'll be in ihram for 2.5 days. Okay, we'll talk more about that. Okay. This is for that. Hajj packages, stay. Okay. Okay. If you're going to Makkah first, right? Who's going to Makkah first, right? So you would, you need to have your ihram with you in your carry-on. Which flight are you going with?
Saudi.
Saudi Airlines. So they're going to go take a direct flight So best to put on your ihram at JFK. Not come into the state of ihram. Not come into the state of ihram, but put on your, because it's like an 11-hour flight, right? Changing into the clothes of ihram in an airplane toilet, restroom is very difficult without getting your ihram soiled. Right? People try to change in ihram in the cubicle that they have for prayer, because you can pull the curtain, and the air hostess does not want you to use that place of prayer. Right? Saudi Airlines, they take out 4, 5, 6 seats from the back, and they have a place for prayer. They don't want you to use that place to change into ihram. Okay? So when are you going to change into ihram? And you have to get into the state of ihram before you land at Jeddah Airport. We'll talk about that. People who are going to Medina, you can wear your jeans, your blue jeans, and go and land in Medina. You're fine. You can even leave the U.S. without ihram. You can buy your ihram from where? Yes, you can buy your ihram from. Because you have to, only when you are entering, going to Makkah for the intention of Hajj or Umrah, do you have to be in ihram. If you're going to Medina first, then you don't have to be in ihram, right? Okay.
So you recommend changing it at JFK before boarding it?
Yes, and you'll see a lot of people. Don't worry, you won't be the only one. I suspect that most people on that plane will be changing into their ihram before they get on the plane. Because what are your options? Plane, changing in that restroom of a plane, which is so.
It's already unsanitary.
It's already unsanitary.
The flight is gonna be so cold. You're gonna be cold.
Yeah, you can put a blanket or something on top, right? If you're feeling cold. Okay. If you were traveling with any other airlines, right, they would take you to, KLM would take you to Amsterdam, right? Ittihad or Emirates would take you to Abu Dhabi or Dubai, right? Egypt Air would take you to Cairo, Jordan Airlines would take you to Jordan. I would say change there. Change in that last stop before you board the plane to Jeddah. But you don't have a stop. It's a direct flight from JFK to Jeddah. You don't have any option. That's what they said. If your first stop is Medina, then you do not need to assume ihram on your way to Medina. Okay. Leaving Medina, those who are going to Medina first, okay? Then you're going to, they'll probably, everyone by law has to leave Medina on the 5th of Dhul Hijjah. Right? And Hajj starts when? 8th. Hajj starts on the 8th. So because some people, they like to leave on the 7th, they don't, and they go straight for Hajj. They don't allow that. They want everyone to leave for Hajj by the 5th. Okay? So most probably you'll be leaving Medina on the 5th. Okay, to go to Makkah for your Hajj. Okay? And being with the group, they'll tell you when to put on ihram. Okay, and when to come into the state of ihram. You will have to come into the state of ihram fairly soon, almost 6 miles after you leave Medina.
There's a masjid there, right?
There's a masjid there called Bir Ali. They might stop there, they might not. So they'll tell you whether they're going to stop there. They have 2,000 shower stalls. You don't. What I would recommend is that you take a shower and come into the clothes of ihram, not the state of ihram. Come into the clothes of ihram, right? And then get on the bus or get on the train. And then once you're on the bus and train, and the bus and train starts moving, then you make your intention. If they're stopping at Bir Ali, then stop at Bir Ali, come out, pray your 2 rakat salat in the masjid, and then come into the state of ihram. Okay?
Most likely that's how it's
Most likely that's what they would do. They're going to stop it. It's a sunnah, but people are so adamant about it. If I was in charge of a Hajj group, I would not stop there, because it would save you 6 hours.
If you don't stop there, then where do you do your 2 rakat namaz? Then once you get to...
Then 2 rakat salat is sunnah. If you're not stopping there, I would say just go to Masjid al-Nabawi and pray your 2 rakat sunnah in Masjid al-Nabawi. Okay, but don't forget your green card like that lady.
Yeah.
Okay. pray your 2 rakat sunnah in Masjid al-Nabawi, and then get on the bus. Okay.
What is the order of things that they need to do when getting into the house?
We'll talk about that. Sure. I think this is just like a brief overview. This Hajj step by step is the next presentation. This is called Hajj introduction. Okay. Okay. If Makkah was already, you went to Makkah first, then you come to Medina, right? That's why I asked this question: who's going to Makkah first and who's going to Medina first? Because the instructions are going to vary somewhat. Okay. I like to explain this so you know exactly how this works. It's not. There's a method to this madness of what is haram, what is miqat. Okay. There's actually 3 definitions. They have 2 here, but then I'll add a 3rd one. It's called haram. Haram is the, or Masjid al-Haram. Masjid al-Haram is the actual masjid. Okay? And then you have haram. Haram. Okay? Haram is about, they'll show a map. It's about, think of it, a 5 to 6 kilometer radius around Makkah. That's what? Haram. Okay? That's, the rulings are different for haram. As you know, once you enter haram, then you are at peace. It's not just Masjid al-Haram. It's at the whole haram. And haram is almost as big as Makkah itself. If they want to decapitate someone, they take him out of haram. Okay? Then you have the miqat. Miqat is anywhere between 120 to 200 kilometers outside of Makkah. So when you are entering the state of ihram, you have to enter the state of ihram before you cross the miqat. Okay? Let me give you, just like, think of, let's say Salt Lake City was Makkah. Okay? Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if you're coming from the north, Ogden is your miqat. If you're coming from the south, Provo is your miqat. If you're coming from the east, whatever. If you're coming from the west, right, then Heber City is your miqat. Okay. So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam defined those cities. Okay. That if you're coming with the intention for Umrah to Makkah or with the intention of Hajj, you cannot cross these cities. These cities don't even exist today. But you cannot cross these cities without being in a state. That's called miqat. Okay. Haram, where all the rules of haram apply. Okay, where you cannot pluck a plant, you cannot harm or kill an insect, you cannot hunt, right? You cannot, because that's sacred land. That's called sacred land. Even if the killer, the murderer of your father enters the haram, he's what? Safe. O.J. Simpson enters haram, he's what? Safe. Because he's entered the haram. No one can touch him. Haram. But the confusing part is haram is also used for Masjid al-Haram, the actual masjid. The actual masjid that can accommodate 1.5 million people at one time, they use the word haram for that too. Okay, that's why I have 3 terms: miqat, haram, and Masjid al-Haram. But as I said, Masjid al-Haram and haram are interchangeable. Miqat, okay? Already talked about that, okay? This is the map. Okay, now if your flight is coming this way, right? From Europe, right? Then you gotta be in Miqat before you cross Juhfa. Before you cross the city of Juhfa. I would say the pilot will announce. Okay, but let's say he forgets to announce, or you're sleeping when he makes the announcement. Better not to wait. Better to come into the state of ihram before, once the plane takes off. Okay, from Cairo or Amsterdam or Jordan, okay, or Dubai. But this is about, I would say, 20 to 30 minute flight time before you land at Jeddah. Okay. If you want to wait till the last moment, which you really don't have any reason to wait, to come into the state of ihram, you really, really, really want to wait to the last minute, then you should come into the state of ihram at least 30 minutes before your flight lands at Jeddah Airport. Okay? That's Juhfa is most of the flights coming in, right, from the US or Europe or the Middle East will be this will be our miqat, Juhfa. Does that make sense now? Makkah is here, right? Jeddah is here, right? That's why you cannot wait until you land at just the airport to come into the state of Ihram. When you're coming from Medina, wow, you see how close, that's why I said about 6 miles outside of Medina. That's your miqat if you're coming from Medina. Only about 6 miles outside of Medina. So you might as well just make your intention in Masjid al-Nabawi if you're not stopping at Bir Ali. Okay, but if you're stopping at Bir Ali where they have the 2,000 showers, then you can just, don't take a shower there.
Yeah.
Right.
You could prep at the hotel.
Yes.
Before you leave.
But you can pray your 2 rakat sunnah at the masjid there and come into the state of Ihram at Bir Ali. Called Zul Hulayfa. Zul Hulayfa. Now you understand the term miqat? I like to explain it so you know why you're doing what you're doing. One is you're doing it because someone told you you have to do it. Now you know why. There's miqat and how the miqat works, you know? Now it all makes sense. Okay. Okay, now this is Masjid al-Haram. This is the Haram of Makkah. Okay, the Haram of Makkah. And this is the city of Makkah. You see the yellow dotted line? That's the city of Makkah. Just pretty much. So if you want to do a second Umrah, right, if they allow you, you go outside the Haram to Masjid Aisha. Where's Masjid Aisha? Masjid Aisha is right outside of Haram, next to the place where they decapitate the heads. By the way. And then you go out, you go to Masjid Aisha outside the Haram, you pray 2 rakat salat and come back in the Haram for your Umrah. Yes?
We did that with our Umrah, but somebody is telling us it's wrong. They said it's for locals to go to Masjid Aisha. If your intention for second Umrah, you should go further.
There's difference of opinion in everything that I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, they
Yeah, I
are
know.
telling us,
Yeah.
we did exactly the same thing.
Mhm.
We went to Masjid Aisha and make a niyyah and come back.
Yeah.
They say it's for local,
No, it's for second Umrah.
for second Umrah.
Okay. So that's the Haram we talked about, right? O.J. Simpson, Haram. وَمَنْ دَخَلَهُ كَانَ آمِنًا. Quran says whoever enters it is at peace, referring to the Haram. Okay, then you have your places of Haram, Mina, Muzdalifa, all inside the Arafah, right there. Okay, so you can see the Haram, right? At some places, what? It's 16 kilometers, at other places is what? 17. Okay, wow, 22 kilometers, right? At some places it's 22 kilometers. And they'll have this, you know, the boundary of Haram, Bidayatul Haram. They'll have this is the beginning of Haram. Okay, we talked about that, right? Restrictions of Haram: no cutting plants, right? No fighting, no bearing arms to fight. Okay. Masjid al-Haram, Haram of Makkah, Miqat. Does it all make sense now? That's your Makkah. Right, Masjid al-Haram. This is Haram, and this is the Miqat. We talked about the 3 types of Hajj. So here are some terminology. Masjid al-Haram, right? Masjid al-Haram, the actual masjid, right? It's commonly called Haram. Remember I said that's where the confusion comes, because these 2 words are interchangeable. Pillar means rukun, okay? Obligatory acts, wajib, sunnah. Just like the prayer has fard, wajib and sunnah, right? Hajj also has fard, wajib and sunnah, right? Sunnah, you're in ruku, you don't say Subhana Rabbil Azim, Subhana, your prayer is still valid, because saying Subhana Rabbil Azim is what? Sunnah. But if you skip ruku altogether and don't even go down, then you skipped a what? Fard. Then your prayer is not valid. Same thing. In Hajj, there's certain things that are sunnah, better to do it, because it's once in a lifetime journey. Why would you want to skip it? But if for some reason you do skip it, you don't do it, it's still valid. But if you skip the whole fard, then your Hajj is not valid. Just like your prayer is not valid if you skip ruku altogether. Hadi is that animal that is sacrificed. Well, for those who are performing Hajj Tamattu, which is all of you, then you do a sacrifice. You will be sacrificing an animal. This sacrifice is not the same sacrifice that is performed for the people who are living in all of the world. That sacrifice you don't have to perform. Why? Because you are a traveler. Right? The sacrifice that I will be performing at Eid al-Adha, right? That sacrifice you will not be performing. Why? Because you are a traveler, and travelers are exempt from performing that sacrifice. But you still have to perform one sacrifice, okay, which is wajib, which is obligatory. That's the sacrifice every Haji who is performing Hajj Tamattu or Hajj Qiran will have to perform. Shawt is called one circuit. One circuit around the Kaaba is called one shawt. And Tawaf is a combination of all 7 circuits and 2 rakats. Sa'i, we'll talk about these terms. Sa'i is what? Going between Safa and Marwa is called Sa'i. Some definitions, Ihram, right? In the prohibitations of Ihram, Fidya is the fasting of 3 days, feeding of 6 needy people, or an animal sacrifice. Missing a wajib requires an animal sacrifice. Okay. Tamattu. We talked about these 3 types of Hajj before the recording started. Tamattu is what type of Hajj, which all of you will be doing, where you perform Umrah, then come out of the state of Ihram, and then come in the state of Ihram again for Hajj. That's called Hajj Tamattu. Umrah, got it? Separate, then Hajj, separate. Qiran is, we're one state of Ihram, you're performing Umrah and Hajj. So you perform Umrah, don't come out of Ihram, stay in the state of Ihram, and then wait for the days of Hajj to start, and then perform Hajj.
I have a question. So, is there more reward in doing one versus the other?
Yes, again, difference of opinion. Which Hajj did Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam only perform one Hajj? Right? Which one did he perform? He performed Qiran. That's the majority view, that he performed Qiran.
So if you're like, if you do Hajj, you're doing it one
Those
time.
who are really, really die hard, right? They will go for it.
Yeah. So like, if I'm doing Hajj one time in my life, and like I'm only financially capable of doing it one time in my life, wouldn't it make sense for me to go for this option, even though it's much more difficult?
I would not recommend it.
So, Ramjit, I heard, and I don't know if, like he also said that next time if he would do Hajj, he would do
Hmm.
Is that
Yeah.
authentic?
I don't know if it's authentic, but how authentic it is. But see, the thing is, you don't want to take on. See, the general rule for ibadah is the more hardship, the more reward. The more hardship you have to go through, the more reward. But it doesn't mean that you unnecessarily take on hardship, right? If you happen to lose your suitcase, you'll get more reward than everyone else, right? Because you went through, but you don't intentionally lose your suitcase, you know. So I would say this Hajj journey itself is very cumbersome. So to Hajj Tamattu is what I would recommend. And then Hajj, this is for the people of Makkah. This is the only one that does not require a sacrifice, because you're performing only Hajj. The Prophet ﷺ commanded his companions to do tamattu even though he did Qiran, because he brought the hadi animal of sacrifice with him. Okay. All of this, right? Vaccination. The most important thing you can do is pray 2 rakat Salatul Hajj before you leave home, and ask Allah Azza wa Jal to make it easy for you. Okay. Arriving in Jeddah airport. Here's a point to remember. From JFK to Jeddah is what, 11-hour flight? And Jeddah to Makkah, people who live in Jeddah, they will have iftar in Ramadan in their home, and then they'll make it for Taraweeh prayers to Makkah. Okay? But during the days of Hajj, it can take you 14, 16, 18, 20 hours to go from Jeddah to Makkah. Okay? So get ready for a long stay. That's all. Your journey from JFK to Jeddah will tend to be shorter than your trip from.
Takes that long because we're waiting for the transport and
Waiting for the
everything.
transport, yes. But they have showers there. They have food there, you know, just make yourself, you know, just be in the right frame of mind, okay?
Can't you just walk?
It's 2 hours, God.
See, in America, they don't even say wait a second. What do they say? Wait a second, right? That's how quick things happen here. There's no concept of things happening quickly. Everyone's laid back and relaxed. Everyone has all the time in the world. Okay, we Americans want fast. You know, that's why they have drive-throughs. You know, we want to chop chop, ready, let's go. No one's in a hurry over there. It's not like Tom Brady. Let's go. Nope. Okay, arrive in Jeddah. Immigration. I don't know how it will be, how it's happening with this new Hajj program that they have, where you go through this website. What do they call it? Nusuk, right? But before you know, the group you were going with, the travel agent from New Jersey, right, who you were going with, he would have one of his people holding a sign, right? It's very much, you know, customer service oriented. So when you came out, you know, then you would just follow him, and all of the American Hajis who are going to be getting on the same bus are all sitting together, you know. But I don't know how it's happening with Nusuk. Okay, that's basically the introduction. Now let's get to the step by step. The next presentation is called Hajj step by step. Okay, this gave you a little brief overview. Okay. So far, so good. Any questions?
Lots. Lots of questions, but I'll let you cover it.
Okay. Okay, this I'm going to slow down a little bit. Okay, Ihram, we talked about that. Everyone is clear on Ihram? Basically, the men cannot cover their hair, right, in Ihram. Right, the men cannot cover their hair and their face. And the women, of course, will cover their hair, but they cannot cover their face.
So no wet towel
No wet towel.
on that?
No.
Or you cannot wear caps for men?
Men cannot cover their hair. Cannot wear caps. Okay, that's part of Ihram. Okay, no, the restrictions of Ihram, basically no stitched cloth, right? So the cloth has to be, and it could be stitched on the side. When we say no stitched, men cannot wear stitched cloth. It means that cloth that has been stitched to make a limb, to form a limb, like a sleeve, you know, to form a limb, a part of the body. Okay. Otherwise, if the ihram is stitched, you know, to stop the threads from coming out, if it's stitched at the end, that's fine, right? But when you put on the ihram, right, you have people do get creative, right? You can use Velcros, right, to keep it together, right? Safety pins, right? Anything. You can have buttons, right? You can sew buttons on, and you can button it. Okay, all of that works. Okay.
So, if you go to Medina first, you can get from there.
Yes.
And a buy for women and everything.
But I would say buy the abaya here, because before you land at the airport, you don't want to be dressed in your Western clothes, right? So it's good to have an abaya from here, because it's 200 miles from. If you're going to land at Medina Airport. See, non-Muslim airlines are not allowed into Medina. That's the thing, because Jeddah Airport is outside of Haram. Jeddah Airport, that's why all these non-Muslim airlines come into Jeddah. But no non-Muslim airline is allowed to come into Medina, because Medina Airport is part of the Haram. Okay, so they will not allow any non-Muslim airline to come into Medina. So that limits us. Basically, you do have airlines coming in like Jordanian Airlines, Egypt Air, Abu Dhabi, you know, but you don't have any Western airlines coming into Medina. But from the airport in Medina, you still want to be in abaya, you know? Nice. Okay. Okay, so we'll have the dates here. We'll talk more about this 8th, 9th, and 10th. What you're going to do? Okay, let's talk about 8th. Okay, that's your first day of Hajj. Okay, what if you have gone to Makkah first, or you went to Medina first? Since you're doing Hajj Tamattu, either way, right? You go to Makkah first or you go to Medina first, you're still doing what? Hajj Tamattu. So you're going to do Umrah, right? And then you're going to come out of Ihram. Then you're going to do Hajj, right? On the 8th. On the morning of the 8th, okay, sometime after Fajr prayer, you will put on your clothes of Ihram. Okay. It is recommended to go to Masjid al-Haram, the actual Masjid in Makkah, and pray your 2 rakat salah. It might be a little too inconvenient to go to Masjid al-Haram to pray your 2 rakat salat, so you can just pray your 2 rakat salat in your hotel room and come in. We'll talk about exactly how to come into the state of Ihram, but for now, since they have the dates up, that's what we're going through. On the morning of the 8th is your first day of Hajj. Okay, you have done your Umrah before the 8th. Okay. And then you come into the state of Ihram on the morning of the 8th. Okay. You will go to Mina. In Mina, and we're going to cover this all again. Okay. In Mina, you're going to pray 5 prayers. Zohar of the 8th, right? And then, go ahead. Asr of the 8th, and Maghrib of the 8th, Isha of the 8th, and then Fajr of the 9th. Okay? That's all you're going to do. Mina is like the Sunnah before the Fard. You know you have Sunnah before Fard? What is the purpose of Sunnah? It is to get you in the right frame of mind for your Fard. It's to spiritually prepare you for the Fard. Right? For the Fard that's coming up. That's the same purpose behind this Sunnah. Mina, the stay in Mina is Sunnah. What is it preparing you for? The Fard. What's the Fard that's coming up on the 9th? Arafah. Arafah is the Fard. Okay. So what to do in Mina is basically they'll take you to these tents. You see these white tents, right? God help you if you get lost. If you went with me when I told you to go with me, okay, you can blindfold me and I can make my way around Mina. Okay?
So we can call you from there.
They have these Saudi Boy Scouts who will try to help you and if you get lost. But you try not to get lost because I don't know why they don't use color code or something. All tents are what? North American tents will be somewhere. Anyhow, you'll stay in these tents on the 8th. Okay?
So in Mina, you just do the namaz and just do your prayers.
Do your prayer, your Quran, your dhikr, okay? And these are usually the most comfortable, okay? It looks like gradually they bring you down, okay? Because Mina is the most comfortable. It makes sense because you'll be staying the longest in Mina. Like what? You just stayed one day. No, you're coming back to Mina. So you're actually staying the longest period of time where? In Mina, out of these 3 places. People say, where's my hotel? See, people haven't been there. They don't, you don't know. You have to trust someone at some level to give you the right Hajj package. Because people ask me this question all the time. Well, during the days of Hajj, where's my hotel? Having a hotel in Makkah in front of the Kaaba is of 0 value to you during Hajj, because all of your whole entire Hajj is outside of Makkah. What are you going to do with the hotel room in Makkah? Because Mina is outside of Makkah, right? Where you're going next, Arafah, is outside of Makkah. Where you're going next, Muzdalifah, is outside of Makkah. You're not coming back to Makkah at all, except for on two occasions, and that too for a very short period of time. Hajj is all outside of Makkah. Then now you're moving on to the Fard, which is Wukuf Arafah, stay in Arafah. Okay, so sometime after Fajr prayer on the 9th, you'll be moving to Arafah. This is where you would want to walk. I don't know why our people, they would rather sit on the bus for 6 hours and not walk, for an hour.
So all of far is the walk from?
These are
here?
not that far, about an hour.
Suppose-
Miles is how many miles?
I don't wanna quote you, but it depends where you are in Mina, okay? Because all of these connect. Mina connects with Arafah,
Yeah.
Mhm.
right?
We're in Camp B.
No, Mina connects with Muzdalifah, and Muzdalifah connects with Arafah,
Oh,
okay? So, if, let's say Mina was on this side, okay? Hmm? And then Arafah is on this side, and then Muzdalifah is in the middle. Okay? So when you go from Mina to Arafah, you're going past Muzdalifah.
Yeah.
But all these have expanded so much that they're now all what? Connected. Right? It's like Salt Lake City's connected with Lehigh and with Provo because we've expanded so much. So they're all now connected. So if you ask me how far is Mina from Muzdalifah, well, it depends on which corner of Mina you are at. North American tents are usually on this side of Mina, closest to Muzdalifah. Okay, so then in Arafah on the 9th, right, which is Fard, you're praying two prayers, Zohar and Asr. So you're only there during the daytime. That's it. You're not sleeping there. So remember, you took your carry-on, right, to Mina. You're going to keep your carry-on in Mina. What are you going to take with you to Arafah? Backpack. That's it. You're going to downgrade, and you're ready for that downgrade. You already knew, right? You were expecting that, so you already have those things in your backpack just for Arafah and Muzdalifah, because you're coming back to Mina. Your base is Mina. Don't worry, they'll zip tie those tents and make sure no one gets in. Okay, so you can keep your carry-on in your tent in Mina. I hope you're not going to take your whole big suitcase to Mina. You don't need to do that. Your whole big suitcase can stay at your hotel, right? The only thing you're taking to Mina is your carry-on.
Take all the money with you and not leave any in at Mina when you go to Arafah.
Yeah, don't leave any valuable. And even a carry-on is too much, I would say. You can take your backpack to Mina and have your drawstring bag that you take to Arafah and Muzdalifah. Right?
Wait, so you leave your backpack in Mina?
Yeah.
But aren't there tents there? You said there's tents in Mina.
Right. They'll zip tie them so to make sure no one comes in.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So then now you're going to pray. What do you do in Arafah? You're going to basically dua. And if you can stand out, one is standing, one is sitting. If you can stand, and then not stand in the tent, but stand outside the tent in the heat and make dua, that's even better, right? That's where Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did dua for 6 hours continuous. So you make as much dua as you can, okay?
Arafah also has tents.
Arafah has tents, but it's not as it's not as comfortable as Mina, because obviously you're only there for
Half of the day.
Okay, so that's why I said you'll see that downgrade.
Is Arafah have that mountain too, where people?
They have that mount where people go to. They also have the masjid where they have the official Hajj khutbah. Okay, that masjid can only accommodate 10,000 people. I do not recommend that you go to that masjid to hear the official Hajj khutbah.
It will be in Arabic anyway.
That'll be an
How
Arabic.
about interpreter?
Yeah.
Do you recommend?
I don't recommend going there either, because you're not going to get any space there. You're going to go there, but it's all covered in white. People are already there standing. You're not.
I heard like mostly people, if they go more higher you go, like you suffer, you make dua there. It's
Duas are
better.
accepted,
I think
stronger or something. I don't know.
I would, if you were just standing outside your tent in the heat, that itself is good enough for your duas to get accepted. I would not recommend standing outside for too long. You would need to come back, but if because you can stand inside your tent too, and you'll see a lot of people standing inside the tent. When it comes closer to Asr, closer to Maghrib time actually, closer to Maghrib, right? Then you can stand outside and make dua. That's doable. And then and as a matter of fact, I don't recommend making too much dua in the beginning because you'll get too tired. The main time for dua is what? Towards the and closer to
Maghrib time.
closer to Maghrib time. That's the main time for dua. Okay, so you want to have that, you want to reserve, you want to have some energy in reserve for that last 1 hour.
But after the Asr namaz,
Hmm?
basically, doing after doing the
After Asr, right? But they do pray Asr early there, right? So after the Asr, but yeah.
So that khutbah, I heard like if you download that app, like you can hear in your own language, in English,
Yeah.
you can translate, right?
Right. And one of the things we used to do is we used to give the khutbah in the tent. Okay, so it's not that you're without a khutbah. Your Hajj group that you're going with is going to arrange a khutbah for you in the tent. Okay? And they're going to arrange Dhuhr and Asr prayer. Okay, because you're supposed to combine Dhuhr and Asr prayer. Okay, there's difference of opinion here too. According to Imam Abu Hanifa, you do not combine Dhuhr and Asr. But others, you do combine Dhuhr and Asr in Arafah. Okay? So first we're good? That's your phone. Then it's Maghrib time. You have to wait for the sun to set. That's when you see the discipline of the Muslim Ummah. If you were ever to see discipline, no one will leave. No, not a single person will dare to step outside the limits of Arafah before. So then as soon as the sun sets, you leave. But you might not, your bus might not come for another 2 hours. But can you pray Maghrib? No, you can't. It's almost Isha time. Oh, it is Isha time. You missed your Maghrib. You missed your Maghrib because you are not to pray Maghrib in Arafah. No matter how late it gets, no matter how much you have gone into Isha time. Where do you pray Maghrib and Isha? Muzdalifah. Muzdalifah. Remember we said Mina is on that side? Huh? Arafah is on that side. You come back to middle, Muzdalifah. And that's where you have no arrangement at all because you're just staying the night. They don't even have a tent. Forget about the sides. They don't have no sides, no top, nothing. You're just under the stars. One big Muslim camping party. Okay? So when you get to Muzdalifah, it's dark. That's why you need the flashlight. And then you just find some space where you can sleep. You'll see a pocket of women sleeping here, pocket of men, pocket of women, pocket of men, and you just hope in the middle of the night it doesn't shift from women to men, but that's where you find your place and you just sleep. Okay.
When you were taking people, were you like staying in that group when you were doing that? Or?
The Hajj group, I would say yes till we got to Muzdalifah. Because we would use their buses to get from Arafah to Muzdalifah. Once we got to Muzdalifah, they would have a guy sitting on a chair with that sign, okay, caravan travel, but I wouldn't bother because in the morning I knew I was going to take my people from Utah and be on my own because that's when everything breaks down. In the morning, when you wake up in the morning, in Muzdalifah, now what day is it? The 10th.
Oh.
All transportation system is what? Broken down by now. Okay, so you just, and plus you're in Muzdalifah, you can make it to Mina. So I just say, hey guys, let's go. Let's move it. And so we're not going to wait for a bus to take us to Mina. I know exactly where my tent is, and I already have my scissors to open the zip tie because I know I'm going to be the first one back. Right?
That's when you need scissors.
Right. So you need scissors for the sister's hair. But anyhow, that's the night you spend. You do two things in Muzdalifah. You pray Maghrib and Isha together. Even according to Imam Abu Hanifa, you pray Maghrib and Isha together. And the second thing is you collect your pebbles. How many pebbles do you collect? Well, on the 10th you have to pelt 1, so you need 7, right? On the 11th you pelt all 3, so you need 21. 7, 7, 7. And then on the 12th you pelt all 3 jamarat. So you need again how many? 21. Remember we said 13 is optional? So 21 plus 21, 42 plus 7, 49. You need 49.
49.
49.
Can we do extra just to be safe?
Just to be safe, take a few extra. You don't have to wash those pebbles or anything. You pick them up from Muzdalifah. So those are the only 2 things, and then you just go to sleep. You'll be so tired. Your yoga mat, that's where you need it. It'll come in handy, and you do it.
what's the significance of having it to be a certain size? Do we, like, people
Some
look
people
for it
says
to
it's
be a
need to
certain
be-
size, the size of the date?
It shouldn't be too
big.
small, too big, that's the whole
That's
concept,
all.
not too small because it won't have enough mass for you to throw it,
there.
right? Not too big, you don't wanna hurt it. Okay, we're good?
I have a
So
question.
don't spend time looking for a perfect
Yeah.
pebble.
On the morning of the 10th, you did this, you picked your pebbles before you went to sleep, right? You
Mhm.
prayed Maghrib and Isha, you picked your pebbles, you put them in a Ziploc bag, and you wake up in the morning, you pray Fajr, okay? And then you don't have to pray Fajr in Muzdalifah, that's the thing, you don't have to pray, but you do have to wait till dawn. You cannot leave till the beginning of Fajr time. You cannot leave before Fajr time. Okay? This is, so you wait till Fajr time starts. You know when Suhoor time ends? But if you leave before that, it's okay, but it's recommended. Where are you going to go back to? Mina. You don't have to. You can actually say, hey guys, we don't really need to freshen up. We're good, right? Let's go straight for the pelting.
Okay.
Okay, or you can go back to Mina, right? And because you're with me, I'm well prepared. I cut the zip tie and I say, guys, this is our tent. Let's go. Freshen up. You can take a shower. Okay, you can take a shower in Ihram, in the state of Ihram, right? You just cannot use what? Scented soap. You can use soap, but you cannot use scented soap. Okay.
The same thing with the deodorant, if it's unscented, non-alcohol-based
Yes.
deodorant.
It's not gonna work. No deodorant is gonna work there, okay? I also carry an extra set of ihram because I do change. 2.5 days is a little too much for the same clothes of ihram. So I've started ihram on the 8th, right? Then what I do is the morning of the 9th, before I go to Arafah. Makes sense, right? You're going to Arafah, right? This is your fard. And I'm still in Mina, right? So, and I'm going to pray Fajr namaz in Mina. Remember, you pray 5 prayers in Mina, where you start off, right? Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha, and then the Fajr of the 9th. That's when I take a shower.
Okay.
Change it to
Second.
my second ihram, and now I'm ready for Arafah. And of course, it makes no difference by the time you get to Muzdalifah and you're lying in the dirt, you're sleeping under the stars, it's going to get dirty. But at least you're almost there,
So then when you come back to Mina from Muzdalifah,
If you want to take a shower ahead, go ahead and take another
and
shower.
then have another ihram
You
break,
can-
so that
if you
you
want
break.
to, but you're going to be coming out of ihram in a few hours anyways,
Oh, okay.
because you come out of ihram on the 10th.
You will still stay in the state of Ihram even if you take a shower? You
Yes.
will stay in the Ihram?
Yes. Yes. You can take a shower. You can take a shower in the state of ihram. Okay. You just cannot
But we
use you cannot comb your hair because you're not supposed to pluck your hair. If hair falls out, that's different. But if hair falls out through your action, and combing is your action, it's your act. You combed your hair, and because you combed your hair, hair came out. So you're not supposed to comb your hair.
That's just any part of your body or just from your
Any
scalp?
part.
Any part.
Okay? Well, just these dates we've covered almost all of them. Okay, then you're good. Then you're back in Mina, right? Mina is your most busiest, when you come on your 10th, right? Is your most busiest day, okay? Is your busiest day. Why? Because you got 4 things to do. Okay. You gotta pelt the jamarat, right? One of them, right? And you have to do a sacrifice, but luckily you're not going to do it. They're going to do it on your behalf, the company. Now, Hanafi school is very strict on this. You cannot come out of ihram till your sacrifice has been done. Okay? So some companies, they will make you wait till 4 p.m., 5 p.m. on the 10th, right? And then they'll come and announce, your sacrifice has been done. I'm like, how do you know? Because you got a couple million goats and sheep and camels being done, right? Boom, boom, boom. So I don't even, unless you do it privately through some private company, okay, outside, I don't think there's really any way of knowing whether your sacrifice that was designated for you on your behalf has been done, and then you come out of the state of ihram. So I would say this is the one time where you don't strictly have to follow the Hanafi school of thought. You can come out of the ihram before your sacrifice has been done. Okay, but that's two things, sacrifice. The third thing to do is that you would shave, right? Shave your hair and come out of ihram, right? That's where you take your safety razor with you. Okay. The fourth thing to do, you don't have to do it on the 10th. You actually have till the 12th to do it. But a lot of people do it on the 10th, which is the tawaf. There's one tawaf that is done for Hajj.
Just one?
Just one. Okay, that's one tawaf. There's another one which you can do, but it's not, it's more.
You have to shave your own head? You have to shave your own head?
Here's the thing, if your sacrifice has been done, then yes, you can shave your own head. But if it's not, then someone else should do it. Okay? And most probably it hasn't been done, right? So you can have someone else do it. Okay? But instead of going to those barbers, even though they use disposable razors.
Yeah.
Okay, but after a couple of years, I'm like, hold on a second. Okay, disposable razors, you get a few cuts, okay, because they're doing it so fast, okay? And then they put powder on you, okay? Okay, still sanitary so far. Then they have this sponge.
Yeah.
And then then they pound your head with that sponge just to even out the powder. And I looked at that sponge is all red from people's what? I'm like, disposable razors, right, which they have to open in front of you, and then they throw it away. What's the point when the sponge is what?
Everybody.
Can you ask them?
Does it have to be shaved? Shaved? Or it can be
One
cut
third.
short?
It can be cut short, one third. You have to do at least one third.
1/3 of the hair that you already have or
Yes.
cut down?
One third of the hair that you already have.
It's a wireless battery.
1/3
Yeah,
you
yeah.
cut
I have a
down
good
or
one.
you leave
No, yeah.
1/3?
No, one third you cut down. So you
You
leave,
cut down.
you leave 2/3.
Okay.
It's not like you divide your hair.
I'm gonna go with
Your
it.
Yeah, I
scalp,
understand.
the length. The length.
I'll
But
be
here's the
close.
thing, if you've already done
Yeah,
umrah,
go
you've already
with that.
shaved your hair. So
Yeah.
you have very little to begin with.
But you're
not dealing with much. But if what you can do is if you really don't want to shave your head, then it's better that you trim for umrah and then you trim again. You trim 1/3 for Hajj, for umrah, and then when Hajj comes around, you trim 1/3 of that. Okay?
But you can do shave both times if you want to, right?
Yes.
So you can do Umrah and then shave.
Shave, right, and then do Hajj, and then you'll have a little bit,
Stuff
It'll
will
be easier.
5 days.
it's easier. It'll be easier for whoever's doing it, right? Rahil is doing Faisal is doing your, so it'll be
If we have the sacrifice done, then
Yeah.
then you can do your own.
Some of the other people say that you can assume your sacrifices. Assume your sacrifices.
Assume. I don't know if you can assume if you're sacrificing. You have to know. In Sharia, it's not about, maybe if, what if. No, you either know or you don't know. I would say,
Don't think.
yes, yeah, just
So
for,
the group leader should know, right, whoever we going with, they should tell us about that.
I have a question regarding like a state of ihram. Like women can use like hand sanitizer, like if it's alcohol free and stuff. We can use that sunblocks if it's unscented and everything.
men
we can
can use
like
it
men
too.
that like do all. Can we do that? Like everything if it's unscented and everything
Correct.
for hygiene purposes.
Okay, toothpaste is scented, so that's what, so
From
you,
the swab.
so it's from the swab, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so you're doing the Rami of the first Jamarat, you're doing sacrifice, right? We talked about this, you're doing halaq, and, well, they didn't mention the fourth. What was the fourth that I mentioned? The tawaf.
Is that tawaf has to be done at that time, or it can be done anytime
It
before?
can
you
be
leave?
done on the 11th. Actually, the perfect timing, the Hajj group that you go with, they'll tell you the perfect timing is probably at night, not the night between 10th and 11th, but the night between 11th and 12th. Because imagine, up to this point, right, people have only been doing tawaf for umrah, right, and they have been scattered, right? 50% of the people are in Medina, 50% of the people are in Hajj, and even those who are here for Hajj, right, in Makkah first, some have done their umrah, some are going to do their umrah. This tawaf is going to be packed. Why? Because all 3 million people have to do this tawaf. So never has the Kaaba Haram been so busy before, ever, nor will it ever be. When you're gone for Arafah, when you're gone in Arafah, when you are in Arafah, that's when they change the curtain of the Kaaba. Because nobody's there. Not a single soul is there. One or two people probably do that. So when you come back, if you notice, it'll be much brighter and shinier and cleaner. So now everyone is back. Everyone is back to do their tawaf. So what is the perfect time to do tawaf? I would say the night between 11th and 12th. You have till the Maghrib of the 12th to do that tawaf. It's called tawaf ifada. It's also called tawaf ziyara. It's called tawaf hajj. It's called tawaf fard. There's 4 names to it. Okay, you also have to do one sa'i for hajj. You have to do one tawaf for hajj, and you also have to do one sa'i for hajj. Better to do the sa'i now, right? In other words, once you get done with tawaf, since you're already there, you're going to do what? The sa'i. This sa'i is for hajj. We're going to go how to do tawaf, how to do sa'i. We're going to cover that. Okay, now you're back in Mina. Remember I said your base is Mina. You're going to stay the longest in Mina, right? That's why you keep your carry-on in Mina. Okay, and when you go to Arafat and Muzdalifah, you downgrade to a backpack or a drawstring. Well, you're back in Mina after you, because if you, well, you never left. Probably never left Mina. See, the reason is a lot of these Hajj companies, they used to have a building close to Mina. Okay, and a lot of people prefer to move into these buildings. Shisha building or other buildings. Okay, and these buildings are not hotels, they're like apartment buildings, okay, and they're only rented out once a year, right, to the people who are coming for Hajj. It was very convenient because Mina, no matter what, it's still a tent and there's, shower, toilets, all of that. So, but the Hajj group would make it clear that your meals are going to be served in Mina. We can't, if people are moving into their building, we're not going to serve meals in 2 locations. In Mina and at the building. So all your meals, and you should. It is sunnah to stay in Mina. Okay, so you should stay in Mina. I don't know if you're going to have the convenience of a building, okay, close to Mina. Okay, but anyhow, you either never left Mina or you're in your tent because you haven't really gone for tawaf yet. Remember that tawaf? Right, you're going to go on the night between the 11th and the 12th. So you're really what? Either you're in your building or you're in your tent. So you're going to stay. Spending the night in Mina is wajib, or at least a portion of the night. Spending the day is sunnah, but spending the night is, you should spend the night, unless you have a reason not to. Okay. But you probably don't really have an option, unless you have a building, you're going to end up staying in Mina anyway. So make yourself comfortable in Mina. That's fine. 11, so what do you do on the 11th? You pelt all 3 jamarats.
Oh, okay.
That's all, that's it. What do you do on the 12th? Pelt all 3 again. Right? That's it. Other than that tawaf and sa'i, that you have to go to Makkah for, right? You're basically what? In? Or that residential building,
So when you're doing that, you're not in ihram or
You're not in ihram. You've come out. That's the beauty of it. When you're doing your tawaf for Hajj, you're not in ihram. You're in your regular clothes. Because you came out of ihram on the 10th.
on the tent,
Right?
Yeah.
You came out of ihram.
after sharing the head and sacrifice and everything.
After pelting,
Yep.
when you do that first pelting, you're in ihram.
Yeah.
Right? You do the first pelting, but that one jamara on the 10th, right? Everyone is praying Eid prayer at Classic Fun Center, right? This is the 10th, right? This is your Eid. You have come out, you've come out of ihram after the pelting. Yes.
So for the tawaf ziyarah and then sa'i that day, is it buses take us there or
Buses
we
will
just
take you.
walk there?
Buses will take you.
Okay.
Again, I don't know with this new system how it's going to work. Okay. Buses will take you, they will give you like 8 to 10 hours to do tawaf and sa'i, and they'll say, well, come and pick you back up at this location.
But how far is this from Mina to the Makkah?
Makkah. Mina to
For walking
Makkah,
purposes.
you can walk,
Mm-hmm.
but it would be a long walk.
Because again, you'll be just sitting and just waiting and waiting and waiting to get to go there.
Yeah, the buses should be ready.
During daytime, so it will be tough.
They do have some pedestrian tunnels, you know, long tunnels that go, that take you there, shortcut if you have, but you should know where you're going, someone's going there, take it off, so you don't get lost, okay? But if you can get a taxi, if taxi normally costs 10 riyal, now it's gonna cost how much? 400. It's gonna go up, things are gonna skyrocket. So anyhow, 13th is optional, you said that, right? 13th is optional. There's a point where it does not remain an option any longer. If you don't leave Maghrib, if you don't leave before Maghrib on the 12th, then staying on the 13th becomes what? Okay, so if you want to leave Mina and not do pelting on the 13th, then you need to leave on the 12th before Maghrib.
So I'll share the question, like, if you have accommodation near and you have attended there, so is you said the spending the day is sunnah in Mina, but there's a added advantage of being near heaven, so you can pray prayers. So what is more?
I would say, well, it's you're there for Hajj. You're not there for praying your prayers in the Haram. You're there for Hajj, right? So it's better to stay in Mina, even though you have a hotel room right in front of the Kaaba. But that hotel room will come in handy in the sense that once you've done your tawaf of Hajj, tawaf and sa'i, whether you do it on the 10th or the 11th or the 12th, whenever you do it, once you do that tawaf and you're tired, you just want somewhere to lie down and go to sleep, you have that hotel room.
But between those two, praying in the Haram or staying in the
I would say
Haram
stay in
daytime?
Mina. I would say stay in Mina.
Because the night is wajib, that's
Yeah.
true in Mina, but the daytime, still in the
A lot of people do come during the daytime, they eat, fast food, Burger King, McDonald's, and then, Kentucky Fried Chicken, and then they go back.
Okay.
I'm not talking about me. They'll stay the day, they'll hang out,
Yeah.
Other Americans.
No, I want the night chicken.
Okay, then there's a second tawaf that you do, which is called tawaf-e-wida. Tawaf-e-wida. Someone asked a question about the second. That's the second tawaf you do. This is called the farewell tawaf. Okay, you don't. You have to do it any time before you leave. Does not have to be the last thing you do. Some people think that it's the absolute last thing you have to do before you get on your bus to go to Jeddah Airport. No, it could be done anytime. Okay, it should after you've done your tawaf ifada and tawaf, it could be done anytime.
Can it be done consecutively after that?
Some people do. They'll do tawaf, ifada, then they'll do the sa'i, and then they'll do the tawaf without. Without means like hajjat without farewell.
Yeah.
It's like goodbye.
So it's okay to do that.
It's okay. Yeah, it's okay to do. So you do your tawaf of Hajj, and then you do your sa'i of Hajj, and then you do your tawaf of wida. Usually there's, I would say, it doesn't, personally, it doesn't feel right to me to do it. It's like, there's a loophole there and you took advantage of it, but if you're there, why don't you just come back and do the tawaf ifada, tawaf wida, farewell tawaf, closer to when you're about
Okay.
Okay, Masjid al-Haram, what is this, Mina, okay, here it is, Muzdalifa and Arafah. Got it? This is Aziziyah, Jamarat area, Masjid al-Khif, Mash'ar al-Haram, Masjid al-Nam. This is the Mount of Arafah that you're talking about. This is Masjid al-Namira, where they're going to have the official Hajj khutbah. Okay, they have a Masjid al-Muzdalifa, it's called Mash'ar al-Haram, they have a Masjid al-Khif in Mina. Hajj site. Here are the distances. They're saying it's 2.8 miles. That's if you draw a straight line from Haram to Masjid al-Haram to Mina. Okay?
How tall or high is that Mount Arafah
It's not that tall.
compared to where you're parking? Nothing, right? Easy to get up on top.
Yeah, oh yes. Okay, these are your distances for those who are interested.
Not bad.
Okay.
that's at like.
Then we can walk that.
That's okay, because Mina to Arafat is 8 miles away.
Yeah, walk to the beginning. That's too long.
Long, you still the buses which are in
Well, that's like about 2.5 to like of walk.
You've done Hajj before,
All
right?
depends on what kind of hotel
You're how old?
you're in. So at that time, that day.
Okay,
That's pretty cool that you
Makkah
got
to
to experience it. People
Makkah
were
to
loving it.
Mina. People have a question, huh?
Yeah,
Jamarat
you'll
area.
be a little kid.
Jamarat
Jeddah
area,
area.
Jamarat area is where you
Meet you
used to
outside.
hear a long time ago of
Yeah, because he
stampede,
was also
okay?
Mhm.
Of people getting
my pole.
killed
Yeah.
because of being crushed. Now what they've done is, now, I mean, almost, it's been almost 7-8 years now, is they've made 5 levels. And each level can accommodate 250,000 people at one time. Right? So there's no chance, not even even remote chance of being of a stampede. You know, that's where you used to hear 300 people got killed, 200 people got killed. You know, so that's taken care of now.
What has it in here?
Pedestrian, as I said, there's a pedestrian tunnel that you want to take advantage of if you decide to walk. You should know what you're doing if you decide to. I've never done that walk. There's, I think I didn't. I would just get on the bus, the bus or the taxi. Pedestrian tunnel. There's 2 of them. They're telling you where to take it from, or from here. This is where you're doing sa'i from. You see these 2 domes?
Mhm.
That's your sa'i. That long stretch is what? Your sa'i. Safa, Marwa. Okay. But you know, there was a point where the masjid ended at sa'i. Now they've expanded the masjid beyond the sa'i portion. Sa'i area is technically not part of the masjid. Okay. So if a sister is in that time of the month, then she can still do her sa'i. Ihram from where? We talked about this, right? Ihram from where? If you are coming from outside.
The sa'i that you do, is that also needs to be done how many times did you go?
7.
7 times, right?
Safa first, Marwa.
That is a lot harder to lose track of.
Yeah.
Why?
I lost
Because
track of it.
you lost track of Safa. Because if you started from Safa, so if you're in Marwa, that's 1. You know, so you can see odd number, even number. You know which one you're at. Yeah.
That's a good point that you brought up. If it's that part, if it's that time of month for like my wife, for example, then like say we're supposed to start Hajj the next day, what happens?
Well, what is recommended? Well, they're not supposed to. The only thing they cannot do is the one fard of Hajj. There's 2 fard of Hajj, right? Well, there's 3. Ihram. There's 3 fard of Hajj. Ihram, Arafah, and this one tawaf. Okay. So basically, she can do. She'll be in a state of Ihram, right? She can do Arafah, right? And all of her Hajj is outside of Makkah. The only thing that she cannot do is what? The tawaf. Okay.
But the Hajj is still complete.
Is
The
that
Hajj
still
is
valid?
not complete. That's where you go. That's because it's a fard.
Okay.
Okay, that Hajj is not complete. She can delay that tawaf till better days. Okay. If she can delay her flight. The thing is, it's not like the olden days. You know, you have a flight and you cannot delay it. You cannot change the ticket, right? So that then you have different options.
I see.
Okay. But the preferable option would be to delay the flight if possible. Or if not, even though you've gone past the 12th, because technically you're supposed to do it by the Maghrib of the 12th. Even though you've gone past the 12th, you can at least still do it. Okay. The one thing you should know is labbaik. Everyone knows the talbiyah? Right. This is what your tent in Mina is going to look like. Okay. Yep. These are mattresses that become sofa chairs. And yes, you are packed together like sardines without a single 1 inch of space. Okay. They'll make some areas look nicer, but then of course by the time they get used, okay, this is probably right outside their tent in Mina. Okay. You have the brothers' tent, and then you have the sisters' tent. This is your stay in Mina. This is the Masjid in Mina, Masjid al-Khif, I think they call it. This is Mina, all those tents. Got it? This is the Jamarat. You see where the pelting is going to take place? Right? So when you're coming back from, you spent the night in Muzdalifah, right? So I would take my people to the tent in Mina, freshen up, because Mina is on the way to Jamarat. Jamarat is where you're going to what?
Yeah.
The most spiritual scene for me, okay, when it gets really, when you feel like, oh my God, I'm in another world, this is it, is when you are going from Mina to the Jamarat for the pelting on the tent. Because everyone is in Ihram. Everyone is pretty much calm because they've done everything, right? They've been to Mina, they've been to Arafat, they've been to Muzdalifah. It's the morning of the 10th, right? Everyone is Ihram, everyone is, and you got millions of people, right? All roads lead to Makkah. All these roads lead to what? Jamarat. Doesn't matter which road, right? Every road you go, people are just, and everyone is still saying the talbiyah, because you continue the talbiyah when you're in Hajj. You continue the talbiyah from the 8th, from the morning of the 8th, from the time you put on your ihram till the pelting. And this is the one time where everyone is saying the talbiyah together. Why? Because everyone is together, and everyone is holding their pouch of pebbles, right? And everyone has their flag, all these, either it's of countries or it's different colors, So I had like a purple color flag, for Utah, right? And everyone is just flags everywhere, and everyone is saying the talbiyah. And there's discipline. There's absolute because if there is a bottleneck, one person will raise his hand, and everyone starts raising their hand. Stop. In other words, what? Stop. Pause. And it's really nice when you're doing that, going for that the Jamarat. Okay. When you stop talbiyah for Hajj, you stop talbiyah when you have done your for Jamarat. When you come to the Jamarat, before you throw the first pebble, that's when you stop. So your talbiyah that started from the morning of the 8th now stops. For Umrah it's different. For Umrah, from the time you put on your ihram, right, till, just like Hajj, from the time you put on your ihram. But when does it stop? When you come in front of the Kaaba to do the tawaf, that's when your talbiyah stops. Okay, this is what I said, 5 levels. They didn't have this before. You can imagine it was just like 1 level or 2 levels, and there was no one way. Now it's all one way. You have police standing all, making sure that it's all what? One way, so there's no stampede. And each level can accommodate 250,000 people at one time. You're good.
Do they direct you which level each group needs to go, or just
these roads lead to different levels, so it depends which road you are on. Whichever road you are on, right, in Mina, because they're roads, but they're basically pedestrian roads. If that makes sense. They're roads, but they're all now for pedestrians. There's no motorists. So these roads lead to different levels. So it's not really your choice. Depending on whichever road you're on, it's going to lead you to a different level. But the wall goes through all 5 levels. The wall, because in the olden days they used to have a pillar, just a column like a minaret, like Khadija Masjid minaret. And then I looked at it, and now it's a what? Wall. But like Shaitan has gotten fat, right? So, and this wall goes through all 5 levels, right? And all the pebbles are falling down. Okay. There's train stations. Yes, I forgot about that. There's train stations now that will take you from Mina. There's trains that will take you from Mina to Arafat to Muzdalifah. Okay, but sometimes it's a bigger hassle because here's the thing. There's trains, but it depends how far the train station is away. The train's not going to stop every block like a bus. The train only has 2 train stations. Sometimes it's a bigger hassle to walk from your tent in Mina to the train station in Mina to get to Muzdalifah. Okay. These are all the streets and roads are named after kings and princes.
That's a mountain, Alpha.
Yeah. This is that mount you're talking about. So
No.
that's the most expensive real estate. Okay, you're not gonna find any place over there. Arafah, we talked about Arafah, right? We've done all of this. Okay, as I said, this masjid can accommodate what, 10,000, 20,000 people. That's still not enough room inside. You're gonna be what?
Outside.
You're guaranteed not to get a space inside. And even then you're outside, you're not gonna understand the khutbah, it's in Arabic, but that's the sunnah. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam gave this khutbah, right? That's the Hajj khutbah. So that's the official khutbah. They have the Amir of Hajj that's appointed by the Hajj ministry, and that they will give the khutbah.
So, like, to listen the translation of it is not the same as to actually listen in Arabic, right?
Yeah, it's not the same as listening in Arabic. It's not even the same as being there.
Yeah.
So masjid, they say half of the masjid is outside the Arafah.
Yeah, that's what they said.
So we have to be careful when
Yeah,
if you are planning on going there.
Yeah.
It's safe to stay.
You can see where Masjid
That
al
it is.
This is the Mount of Arafah. This is the masjid. Where they have the official khutbah. But as I said, every tent has a khutbah. That's why these Hajj companies would take us, right? We are the ones who would give the khutbah in Arabic and lead the Dhuhr and Asr prayer in our tent, right? We would answer questions. There's no such thing as a free Hajj. They made us work for it. So we had to give the khutbah. We had to lead the prayers. We had to answer people's questions. Okay. Oh, this was in the olden days. Okay. Leaving for Arafah. Okay. You can see when you're leaving. Huh?
But that's what people are walking back to Mustafa.
Right. You're not supposed to fast on that day. The sunnah is not to fast. You should not leave Arafah before sunset. We talked about that, right? You do what Allah tells you to do. All your sins have been forgiven. And what's the first thing you do after all your sins have been forgiven? You miss Maghrib prayer. Right? Because you will be praying Maghrib prayer in Isha time. Maghrib and Isha. Why? Because Islam is not about doing what you want to do or what feels good. It's about doing what Allah wants you to do. So the first thing you do after all your sins have been forgiven is what? Miss Maghrib prayer. Because you leave after sunset. And obviously by the time you get to Muzdalifah, it's going to be closer to midnight.
Is it closer to midnight or?
Yeah. Depending on when your bus comes.
What do you do in the meantime? Just
You know what I mean? This is Muzdalifah, you're just under the open sky.
okay.
Okay, got your friend? Muzdalifah. I like these pictures. It gives you a good idea, right? Where things are and So those are your tents in Mina, right? You see how Mina and Muzdalifah are what? Connected, right? So usually what they used to do is they used to drop us off around here, right? On this side of Muzdalifah. That's why I used to take my people, say, let's go. And we used to just walk. And the North American tents are on this side, right here. Closer to Muzdalifah. So it was easy for us to just walk from Muzdalifah to Mina. Because by that time, all transportation breaks down. Okay? It's a good presentation, but you have to come again next year, okay? And then it becomes really solid in your... Okay. You don't have to collect the pebbles from Muzdalifah, they can be collected from anywhere. You should not leave Muzdalifah before Fajr. Okay, you should leave before sunrise, okay? You don't have to, but better to leave before sunrise. We talked about all of this, right? Good. Okay, back to Mina. You see people going back to Mina? Yep. You see the wall now?
Mm-hmm.
It used to be like Khadija Masjid Minaret, and now they made it a wall.
So if you're like this far away, they let you get closer to it?
I would wait.
Yeah.
See, this is what I do. Okay, it's a one-way street, right? People are all coming. And what do you think people do? People will start, let's say you're walking from this side, right? People tend to
Towards, right, closer to it, right?
Well, as soon as they get to it.
Yeah.
This is what I do. I keep on walking. I keep on walking past the halfway mark. And then I make my way in right here. Got it? Because this side is all what?
Emptied out, because
Empty.
everybody trying to get to it right away.
The janazah we had on Friday, right? Yesterday, right? People parked right there in the front. Even though there's additional 30, 40 car parking space towards the back of the cemetery. But where did our people park? Right? And people couldn't get there. Right? So same thing happens here. People, as soon as they see the wall, what do they start going? They start going for the pebble. They start going into pebble. It's crowded here. Just keep on walking. Okay? For example, if this is the wall, right? Just keep on walking. Once you're done now, go towards the wall. Because people are already, right? Now you can come up close. Try to come up close because you want to at least hit the wall, right? Right? So, you know, or at least, yeah, you want to hit the wall. You don't want to hit the back of anybody's head if you're too far away.
So it's the same thing for men separate and women separate?
No, men and women are together.
Okay.
You can have proxy if you, for some reason, cannot do it. Okay? There's a lot of rules. Okay, here's the thing. There's a sunnah time to do it. When should you do Rami? Okay? On the 10th, you can do Rami after sunrise. Okay? But on the 11th and the 12th, this is called Rami, pelting. Okay? On the 11th and the 12th, you should do Rami after Zawal. In other words, after Dhuhr time. Got it? After? Don't do what people are doing. Millions of people are doing things wrong. Okay? So you want to know what you're doing. You could delay Rami, okay, until Asr or even later if you have to, but definitely not after Maghrib. Okay. On the first day, okay, you're going to be coming from here, right? This is Mina. You see the tents, right? On the first day, you only do the big jamara. What they call Bada Shaitan. Okay, you only do the big jamara. So you actually go past the small one and the middle one. You're not going to make a mistake because no one's going to be doing these. Right? You'll figure it out. No one is here. No one is here. So it's obviously where? Here. That's the only one you will be doing, the big jamara, the one at the far end. Okay, and then you leave. They have a helipad and everything. Okay. These are your exit elevators. Okay. You're coming in from Mina. Animal sacrifice, shaving, right? This guy doesn't seem like he's enjoying it.
It's like in pain.
Tawaf ifada, right? Tawaf ifada or tawaf ziyara, tawaf fard tawaf or tawaf hajj. That's the one tawaf that is fard. Then you do sa'i between Safa and Marwa. After, see, you've come out of ihram, but you're still, you cannot have intimacy with your spouse till you've done tawaf ifada. Okay, even though you've come out of ihram. Okay. Then, where did they explain tawaf ifada? And there are medications that can be used to stop, you know, or delay the dates and the. Back to Mina again. You're back to Mina again, right? On the 11th, 12th, and 13th. Leaving Mina 11th and 12th. And see, the Prophet did the Rami all 3 days after Zawal. It is permissible to delay it until after Asr, even to the night if it's too crowded. You should not, okay, I want to go through the exact method of how you're going to say. The good thing is, yes, here's the thing, the tawaf ifadah, this is important. Tawaf wida, the farewell tawaf, should be the last thing you do for Hajj. So if you still have Rami left, then technically, you should not be doing tawaf wida. It does not have to be the last thing you do. You can do shopping after that. You can stay another 2 days and eat at KFC. But it should be the last act of Hajj. The last act of Hajj would mean it should be after Rami. Okay. Oh, now what? Leaving Mina before the 12th of Zulhijjah. Pilgrims can leave Mina only on the 12th after performing the Rami of the 3 Jamarat, or on the 13th. Remember we said 13th is what? This is how they used to do Rami back in the day. Very different, huh? Okay.
Coca-Cola thing.
Well, last day. Hajj summary. Miqat, Ihram, Mina, Arafah, Muzdalifah. Okay? If somebody wants this presentation, I can send it to you. Okay?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Okay? I like this because it's like on a single piece of paper, it has everything. You don't have to go through all the slides just on one piece of paper. What is Ihram, right? Let's do this. Okay, Ihram. How do you come into Ihram? Right? You take, first of all, the only thing that is fard is the intention. Otherwise, everything else is sunnah. You take a shower if possible. If shower is not possible, you can do wudu. Right? Sometimes, like at Amsterdam, it's going to be hard for you to find a shower, right? Or even at any other airport, it's going to be hard to find showers at an airport unless you book that hotel room for a few hours at the airport. So you just make wudu, right? And then you put on your 2 pieces of white cloth, right? And are you in the state of Ihram yet? No. You pray 2 rakat sunnah, and this would be the sunnah, 2 rakat for coming into the state of Ihram. After you pray 2 rakat sunnah, then it would be a good option to get on the plane, right? Before you make the intention of Ihram, because what happens if your plane is delayed, right? Like 10, 12 hours. Otherwise, if you feel comfortable, you can make the intention now. Okay, how do you make the intention? You say, Allahumma inni uridul umrah. Okay, oh Allah, I make the intention for umrah. Or Allahumma inni uridul hajj. Right, I made the intention for hajj. If it's hajj kiran, then you would say, Allahumma inni uridul umrah wal hajj. Oh Allah, I make the intention for umrah and hajj. But now people get confused because they think I'm going for hajj, so I should make the intention for hajj. No, you're going to do umrah first, so you only make the intention for umrah, not for hajj. Okay? I'm here for hajj. Yes, you are, but you're now doing umrah, so you make the intention for umrah. And then you say labbaik. You would have to say labbaik at least once. Labbaik Allahumma labbaik. Labbaik la sharika laka labbaik. Inna alhamda wa ni'mata laka wal mulk la sharika laka. And then that's basically your intention. Okay? Mina, arriving in Mina, spending we already talked about that, right? Everyone's clear on that? Mina?
So these are the
5 prayers.
Yes, simple.
you have to do it in sequence.
Yes.
Put we are on first and then.
Yes. See, the thing is, if I take a shower and wear these clothes and pray 2 rakats, wear these clothes and then pray 2 rakats sunnah, so far so good. But then I make the intention. Once I make the intention, I'm in a what? State of ihram. And in a state of ihram, I can't wear stitched clothes, right? So somewhere before, so that's why you would wear you would be in the clothes of ihram before you make the intention of coming into the state of ihram, so that your very first violation is not wearing stitched clothes, right? Otherwise, if you make the intention of coming into ihram and you're still wearing your clothes, then you just, as soon as you made the intention, you what? You violated the restrictions of ihram. Okay, see, this is nice because it all has at least 1 page, okay? Last day, flight. Okay. Ihram, standing in Arafah, and Tawaf. Okay, this is, Sa'i between Safa and Marwa is wajib, it's not fard, okay? But they included it in the pillars, basically the major. But your three fard are ihram, standing in Arafah, and tawaf ifada. Everything else, just like prayer, everything else is what? Ihram, obligatory. Okay. Okay. We already talked about this, right? Ihram for the miqat, stand in Arafah after sunset, until after sunset, spend one night in Muzdalifah. All of these are wajib. Stay overnight in Mina during the days of Tashriq. The days of Tashriq are known as the 10th, 11th, and 12th. Stoning the jamarat in order, shaving or cutting of hair, and the tawaf wida. If you miss any of these, you will have to do what? Sacrifice. We make the mistake and the poor animal suffers. Changing the need. Okay. Okay. Let me talk a little bit about tawaf. We talked about coming into the state of ihram. Tawaf, once you've made the intention for umrah, right? You start your talbiyah. That is the dhikr you do. The talbiyah. For men, loud. For sisters, inaudible, quietly to themselves. Now, but the best thing to do is that when you get to Makkah, okay, for your umrah, if you have a hotel room, and if you're going to Makkah first, obviously you do have a hotel room. If you're going to Medina first, they might not give you a hotel room. They might take you straight to the building, okay, and then from the building they'll take you for umrah, because you have to leave Medina on the 5th, right? And Hajj starts on the 8th. So and building is a lot cheaper than hotel room. So they'll take you to a building and they'll give you time to freshen up because you've already spent 10-12 hours on the road coming from Mina to Makkah, right? Now you're in that building, you freshen up, and then the bus leaves to take you for Umrah. It's still the 5th. You left on the morning of the 5th, and it's the night of the 5th. By the time you get done with Umrah, it's the 6th, right? Morning of the 6th. You still have the 7th day to relax, okay? Before Hajj starts on the 8th. In either case, what you want to do is, if you're going to Makkah first, I say this, if you go to Makkah first, you're in a hotel room, and it's like you can see the Kaaba, right? And you're in the state of ihram. I say, relax. Go to your hotel room, right? Take a nap. There's nothing in the books that says you have to do Umrah right away, right? You want to be fresh, right? You eat. If you want to take a shower with unscented soap. And then when you're calm and ready, then go for Umrah. Okay? And because you're still, now when you go, I would recommend that I'm not sure how authentic the hadith is, but the very first dua you make when you first see the Kaaba for the very first time is the dua that is accepted. Okay, so I knew some dua that I had in my mind, but when I saw the Kaaba, I forgot that dua. But I do remember, but I did make a dua when I first saw the Kaaba. And that dua was, "Oh Allah, bring me back again and again." And I have gone back so many times, I've lost track. I've flown into Saudi at least 25 times. Okay? I think it's because of the barakah. How many umrahs I've done? Forget about that. How many times I've flown into Saudi for Hajj, I know, 8, alhamdulillah. Umrah, I've lost track. The running joke in Utah was that every time I wanted a haircut, I would go for Umrah. That's how many times Allah has taken me. I think it's because of that dua that I made. Okay. So anyhow, what you do when you come, so what I'm trying to say is you keep. But here's the thing: when you get closer to the Kaaba, you see parts of it. You see bits and pieces. So you really don't know. Have I seen it? Is this counted as seeing it? So that's why I say keep your gaze down, right? I would take my group and I would say, just look down. Trust me, I'll tell you when to look up. Okay? Because then I would bring them close enough where they could see the whole entire Kaaba. Then I would say, okay, now look up. and then they would look up, right? And then they would make their dua. So if you're going for the first time, you're not sure when, you just follow the path, okay? Look down, don't stumble over anyone, but just look down, and then till you feel that you are in front of it, then look up and then make your dua. And then you just keep on, you just not one dua, you can just stand there. People are in a rush to do umrah, to do the tawaf. Just stand there, and I think 10, 15, 20 minutes before you take the few steps down to go into the actual tawaf area, just stand there, you're out of people's way, and you can see the whole entire Kaaba, make dua for as long as you want. Okay? And then, then what you have to do is, because you have a sa'i after this. Any tawaf that has a sa'i after it, you have to do what they call istiqlal. That means you have to put your ihram exposing your right shoulder. Okay? So after you've finished making your dua for 10, 15, 20 minutes to the content of your heart, till your heart is fully satisfied, then you do get your right shoulder exposed. Now you're ready to do the tawaf. Okay? You start just like prayer has what? Allahu Akbar. That is how you start your prayer, correct? Well, you have to do the exact same thing for tawaf. Okay? Say Allahu Akbar. Bismillah, Allahu Akbar. Okay? Raise your hands. You raise your hands just like this, just like you do for prayer, and then you point them at the Hajj Aswad, because the Hajj Aswad is the starting line. Okay, Hajj Aswad, and you say Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, Hajj Aswad, and then you start the tawaf. Of course, your left shoulder will be towards the Kaaba. Okay, it's recommended that you, what do you call it? Yes, you would keep, and you would also, apart from this, there's a second thing that men would do. Okay, which is what? It's called Ramal. Ramal means that you walk in a macho fashion, okay? Like you're, what do you say? Not in a humble way, okay? In what? Like you own this place. Probably not the best way to put it, but it's because when the Prophet ﷺ came back from Makkah, came back from Medina, the people of Makkah said that, oh, look at them, they've become weak. Medina has made them weak. So the Prophet ﷺ said, walk in a what? In a macho, sturdy fashion, So you don't have to, like push everyone out of the way, but okay, that's how the men would walk. That's called Ramal. First, no. Ramal, I think, is for the first four. First four. And then, okay, and then you basically do any dua you want, any dua you prefer. I usually do the dhikr, like the third kalima, subhanallah, right? Then I would do istighfar, right? After that. But then once you go on the fourth, once you're on the fourth side of the Kaaba, right? Kaaba, being a cubicle, has the fourth side. When you're starting the fourth side, okay, then there's one recommended dua, which is Rabbana atina fid dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina adhaban. Okay, that's and everyone knows that dua. That's the fourth.
Every single time, like
Every
every
single time.
seventh, like fourth corner, we should.
Yeah.
Okay.
So during the whole entire time that you're doing the fourth corner, fourth side.
The fourth side start from one corner to Hajj Aswad
Right.
and to that,
Right.
right?
Correct. And then when you come to Hajj Aswad again, then you would say, then of course you're not, it's recommended that you touch it, that you kiss it, but of course you can't, you're not close enough. So then you touch it and then kiss your hand, but you're not close enough for that either. Or you touch it with your stick and then kiss the stick, but you're not close enough for that either. So what, the only option is you have what? Point to it with your hand and then kiss the back of it. That's the whole thing, that's the step by step. I have never kissed Hajj Aswad because I just hate the pushing and the shoving. I cannot, I don't know what people are doing there. Sounds really, whatever they're doing there, it's not ibadah. It's not worship. I don't think Allah wants us to do that. Okay, that level of pushing and shoving. But I do recommend, people ask me, I say go there and just stand there and, maybe Allah will make a way for you. And it has worked. Who does it work for? The elderly ladies. Because people feel sorry for this 80-year-old lady, right? Who's gone from Utah, and they'll make way for her. And yeah, right? So, and at least you can say, well, I tried. You know, you feel good that I have tried. But the amount of, no, that's not.
Especially Hajj time is going to be really difficult.
Yeah.
So should you do that like outside during your regular tawaf, just in a regular time, try to go for it?
Yeah. But trying to go for it is just so vague. You know, you can go there and you can stand there, but it's just, you know.
You want to be able to move without. And do you have to point every round or the first?
Every round.
Every fourth time corner you say
So
the
you-
dua and then
Yeah, so
get to
you're gonna end up doing it 8 times because you do it once in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
And then you do it once at the end. So it's called istilam. So how many times are you gonna be doing istilam? 8 times. Okay, and hopefully you have your tawaf tasdeeq so you don't lose count, or your tick or something so you don't lose count of how many times you have done tawaf. Okay? Once you have done tawaf, okay, then you go and drink, you pray 2 rakat salah. Okay, you're praying 2 rakat salah, you don't need to do this anymore, right? This 2 rakat salah is wajib. It's part and parcel of tawaf. Your tawaf is not complete unless you have prayed these 2 rakat salah. Okay, so you pray 2 rakat salah. It's called wajib tawaf, salat tawaf or tawaf wajib. It's recommended that you pray behind Maqam Ibrahim. Okay, let's say the Kaaba is here, right? Maqam Ibrahim is here. Okay, maybe a few yards from. It's made out of like this gold color and it has this stone where Ibrahim alayhi salam had put his foot. There's no room to do it there. Okay, I mean even behind Maqam Ibrahim, people are doing what? Tawaf. I think Shia school is the only school of thought that insists you have to do it there. That's why you'll see people from the Shia community praying their 2 rakat salat, and they might even get run over, but they will insist on praying it there. My suggestion is, you got the whole football field behind Maqam Ibrahim, right? It doesn't have to be right behind Maqam Ibrahim, because that's still what? You're still in the tawaf area, right? Move back where people are no longer doing the tawaf area. You can still, Maqam Ibrahim is still there in front of you, you know, and then do it. Actually, the Saudi scholars have said you can pray these 2 rakats anywhere in Masjid Haram. I don't feel comfortable because Quran says take the place of Ibrahim as a place of prayer. So that's why I say, well, even 1/4, if you don't follow the Saudi fatwa and pray anywhere in the Masjid Haram, at least pray behind Maqam Ibrahim where you're no longer in people's path. Okay. Once you've prayed these 2 rakat, then what do? Then you drink Zamzam water. Okay, the Prophet ﷺ said only a hypocrite does not drink to his stomach full. Okay, so you're supposed to drink and drink and drink and drink and drink and drink and drink. Okay, Zamzam water. And then you're supposed to go back to the Kaaba and make dua before you go to Safa. Right? Before you go to Safa Marwa for your sa'i. Okay? Where you're supposed to go? You're supposed to go to that place between Hajar Aswad and the door of the Kaaba, which is like 5 feet of space. Not a lot of space there. Between that corner, Hajar Aswad, and where the door starts, right? The door starts from here, right? It's above your head, but it's about 5 feet of space between that corner. But the thing is, if you attach yourself to that place, getting there itself is going to be hard. But if you attach yourself to that place, you're going to get all the perfume and the cologne, right? And remember, scent is what? Not allowed. And getting back in there is hard. So I would recommend just, looking at the Kaaba again, making your dua after you've drank Zamzam water, and then going for Safa Marwa. You don't have to go all the way back to the Kaaba. The main thing to remember is that this is a place of dua. Just like Ramadan is a time for dua, this is what? Place of dua. So what are you doing all the time? Dua, 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 right? My dad would say, even if one dua of yours is accepted, it's worth the trip, right? It's definitely worth the trip. So you're doing dua, right? When you see the Kaaba, you're doing dua while you're doing the tawaf, you're doing dua after you've prayed your 2 rakat salat, you're doing dua before you drink Zamzam water, you're doing dua when you go back, if you do go back to that area between Hajar Aswad and the door. You're doing dua when you go to Safa, you're doing when you start the sa'i. When you get to Marwa, what are you doing? Dua again, and then when you come back to Safa, you're doing dua. So ask to your heart's content. The thing is, we're not used to asking. We're not accustomed to making dua like, what, I got everything I need. What do I need? No, there's a lot of things that we need. So make sure you make dua, okay? And that's my payment for this Hajj class. You're going to make dua for me, okay? Inshallah. And for our community, for Salt Lake, and for the whole Muslim Ummah.
So the recommended ones, you're pointing it out, right? Like it's from the third corner to the fourth one.
There's a recommended dua, Rabbana atina.
And the rest of
Is anything.
and
If I do recommend touching the Kaaba, okay? Not when you come back for Tawaf Ifada. That's when it's jam packed, right? But if you have any other opportunity to go, any other time to go, right? Then I would say, okay, this is Hajar Aswad, right? This is where your Tawaf begins, correct? And there's a green tube light hanging over there in that corner, so you know that you're in line there. Okay. And then this is the door of the Kaaba right here, right? And then here is that semicircle, right? Yep. Which if you go inside, it's like you prayed inside the Kaaba, because the Kaaba originally is not square, it's what? Rectangular. Right? So, okay, and that's hard to get inside that semicircle, okay? That whole wall that's really just the perfect height so no one can jump it, okay? So, so that semicircle is there. So that you're not gonna get there, right? This side, forget about it, right? This side you're not gonna get. This side is also busy. Why? Because of Hajar Aswad. People are getting in line, if there is such a thing called a line, and trying to push and shove their way to get to Hajar Aswad. Which side of Kaaba do you think is the most accessible? This side. Every time I go, I stay there 10-15 minutes, touching the Kaaba, easiest place to get to. Okay? Yes?
I have a question. So you said you come early, you do your Umrah, right? And then before the 8th, you do have time.
Yeah.
And then the scholars do not recommend you to do more Umrahs, right? They say, but you can do one tawaf next week. So,
Well, it's not, I think it's, you can do Umrah. The Saudi government doesn't, I think they've clamped down on this since COVID. Right? They don't allow anyone inside unless you're, they don't even allow you to do tawaf now. Because they want limited number of people. So unless you're in the Umrah clothes, they don't even allow you to come in. But yes, but they do want to restrict the people because of crowd control. Not that they have anything against tawaf and Umrah, tawaf and it's just because of so many people. Imagine if everyone does 2 Umrahs, right? How many more people, how much more crowded is it going to get? So that restriction that you can do tawaf but not Umrah usually comes from the...
my question is, if you do tawaf, then how does that work? You just do like Umrah without the sa'i and all the rest, or how?
If you're doing tawaf, that's it. You go in your regular clothes, you do everything, right? There's no sa'i afterwards, right? You don't just do sa'i because you feel you want to do sa'i. Sa'i is done with Umrah, or sa'i is done with the tawaf for Hajj, right? So you just do. There was a shop owner who lived in Makkah, and he, we go to the gym every day in the morning. You know what he did every day in the morning? Tawaf. Every day in the morning before he opened his store, he did tawaf. So yes, you just go in your regular clothes, and you just do. Then you start your tawaf, 7 rounds, pray 2 rak'ah.
I feel like out of all the ibadahs, tawaf is what we don't have here, right?
Correct.
So I'm thinking like after my Umrah, just keep doing tawaf.
Yes.
Tawaf you can do
Yeah.
as many times.
Yes, that it is recommended that you do tawaf, because you're not going to be able to do tawaf anywhere else in the world.
For our Umrah, we went in the middle of the night and just kind of spent all the night doing Tawaf. So it's fine.
As long as your feet. Okay. It's almost a wash. It's almost the same, because the closer you are to the Kaaba, the circuit is smaller, but it's going to take you longer. Right? So you're on your feet. Doesn't mean you're walking. You're not walking. You're standing there waiting for people to move. You're on your feet. You're further away. You're moving faster, but the circle is longer. Right? So it's almost the same. You should. It depends. You shouldn't. How long the tawaf will take? It can take anywhere from. Normally, it's going to take at least half an hour.
And the other question I have is on the Hajj, right? Even the Salah that we do are shortened to 2 and then even combined or whatever. Maybe not, but they are shortened to 2, right? So then, and then we don't do the extra prayers that the 12 that we do here either. So does that mean we should not do like the night prayers either, or we still can do the night prayers?
You can do the night prayers. You can do the night prayers. You're not going to be shortening prayers because you're going to be praying behind the imam, right? Sheikh Sudais or Sheikh Shuraik, right? So you're going to be praying the full 4 rakat.
Oh, but when we are in Arab, in Mina and Arab,
In Mina and Arafah, I think yes, you do short.
yeah, we have to shut it.
You will be shortening that, right? Okay, that's any other questions? Actually, people have, I say, if you have WhatsApp and you want to ask a question, you're over there, you can always WhatsApp me, okay? And ask me a question on WhatsApp, okay? And if I'm not sleeping, I will, because of the time difference, you're like, how come he's not responding? He told us he would answer us. No, it's not. Taking the time difference consideration, I will answer your questions on WhatsApp. Yeah.
Quick question.
I'm gonna stop.